Finally, one more thought. Just when you think it can't get any worse, it can. So wrote Nicholas Sparks in his 2005 novel At First Sight. But with no disrespect to Mr. Sparks, it's a sentiment I expressed often and in just those terms when I ran ABC News starting in the late 1990s. At the time, Good Morning America, that was our flagship morning show, was struggling. There had been a series of changes, both behind the camera and in front of it, and each one of them made an assumption that things were so bad that they simply could not get any worse. And each and every time, they did get worse. By the end of 1998, I could no longer tell what was the problem because everything seemed to be. And so we went bolder, moving beyond just not making it worse to actually making it better. We moved Charlie Gibson back into the role where we knew the audience loved him and paired him with none other than Diane Sawyer, the star of primetime news and the biggest audience magnet we had. And that's when things finally turned around, adding almost 25% to our audience overnight. It's one thing to turn around a program, it's quite another to turn around an entire company. Under Jack Welch, GE grew to be the envy of the corporate world as it expanded its reach into just about every corner of the world. But then things turned south and accelerated under Jeff Immelt as the market cap fell from over $450 billion to just over $100 billion.
We had good businesses, good people, good initiatives, but at the end of the day, the stock price lagged. There are some things that didn't work.
Just when it looked like things could not get worse, GE turned to Larry Culp, who, instead of trying to fix the company as it was, decided to sell some parts of it off, pay down debt, and split it into three strong businesses centered on aerospace, medical technology, and energy. Those three companies now have a combined market cap of nearly $270 billion.
I've long believed that you're far better off being strong rather than just big. And that was a little bit of the evolution of our conversation. We're not going to be an all-singing, all-dancing GE going forward.
It's not just television where you can go from bad to worse pretty quickly and requires some radical moves. The Washington Post publisher was concerned with where the newspaper was headed and decided to change the editor abruptly, replacing a veteran female journalist from the Associated Press with a British male investigative reporter whom he promised would restore an even greater degree of investigative rigor to the Post. But after questions about how he'd done some of that investigative work at the Sunday Times, his plans to join the Post this week were scrapped. And trust me, however bad things looked for management at the Post, trying to make a change at the top and failing has got to make it worse. But maybe the most glaring examples of people making bold moves, apparently in the hope that things can't get any worse, is in politics. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak looks to have done that in calling an early snap election in Britain when polls showed his party well behind the opposition.
Now is the moment for Britain to choose its future, to decide whether we want to build on the progress we have made or risk going back to square one with no plan and no certainty.
And not to be outdone, President Macron of France has now called his own snap election in the aftermath of his party's being routed in European parliamentary elections.
He's kind of got a reputation in the past for having taken enormous risks. He took an enormous risk in running for president without an established party. It has left open a wide range of outcomes.
But then again, maybe in politics, sometimes this things can't get worse thing can actually work. Here's then-candidate Donald Trump on the campaign trail in 2016.
Over 3,000 people have been shot in Chicago since January 1st of this year. 3,000 people. There's a shooting on average every 2 hours. To those suffering and hurting, I say, what do you have to lose? I'll fix it. Vote for Donald Trump. I mean that. What do you have to lose? It can't get any worse.
Despite his pitch, Mr. Trump didn't win over too many of those black voters by saying they had nothing to lose. He won only 8% of their votes in that election. But then again, we have to remember he did win the election.